Hello guys, this is Johnny back for another update on a Saturday. I've been working on the supply ships and supply storage mechanics. I don't have the storage mechanics on here because it's rather simple. But I do want to talk about supply ships because they will be a very important aspect of the game. And so let's go ahead. Where to start? Overview. Okay, I'll go ahead and start off reading some of my notes here. Supply ships will ferry resources that are produced at core worlds and captured planets to the capital planet of each empire. Supply ships will also ferry resources from capital planets to empire fleets. So let me go ahead and explain what that means. In the galaxy, you're going to have your empire, and you're going to start off with 3 solar systems. One of them will be your capital system, which will contain your capital world, which will be a planet within your capital solar system. And what will happen is all of your core worlds, all of the planets within the solar systems that you have captured, or even if you haven't captured the entire solar system, you just captured one planet within that solar system, and the solar system is contested, say another enemy empire has 2 or 3 planets captured, and you have 2 or 3 planets captured, and the solar system is contested. Well, those planets within the solar systems will spawn on a frequency, a set number of days within the time scale of the game, and they'll transfer the resources that are produced from that planet, which will also be on a time frequency, to the supply ship, and the supply ship will then begin a routine where it will navigate from that planet to your capital planet. So basically, you'll have supply ships flying around, constantly going back and forth between your capital to the planets and solar systems in which are part of your empire. And your capital planet will be basically a resource silo, where that's basically where the resources are stored. Sorry for my twitching here, my ADD, I don't know. I twitch, could be my Graves' disease, I don't know. Anyway, so the supply ships, your capital planet will be basically a resource silo where all of your resources for your empire are stored and distributed. So that's how that'll work. Now, supply ships will be able to be, let's go ahead and talk about supply ship theft. All supply ships will be capturable targets via boarding parties. Supply ships can also be destroyed by enemy empires, marauder fleets, and space entities. When supply ships are captured via boarding parties from empires, they will travel to the host empire's capital planet and deliver the resources before despawning. So, say you're out in the galaxy and you have your fleet with you, and you land on an enemy solar system, and you spot a supply ship making its run. If you have any troop carriers in your fleet, you'll be able to board that supply ship. If you successfully board it, as soon as it's captured, it'll immediately travel to your capital system. Now, that supply ship could be intercepted by pirates or roaming marauders or pirate fleets, as well as entities that could also capture it from you or destroy it. When you capture a supply ship and it does make its delivery, you will also capture the resources that are contained within that supply ship. So that is the planetary supply ship spawn, or planetary supply ship system. So there's also the supplies that ships, the fleet supply ships. So fleet supply ships will spawn 1 supply ship per fleet. When you create a fleet, it will also spawn a supply ship. The supply ship will run from the capital planet to each fleet, no matter where they are in the galaxy. It'll run back and forth and deliver supplies to that fleet, which would be the resources, which would be fuel, energy cells, ammunition, and missiles, as well as troops for your troop carriers. So why that's important is because when your ships, as I discussed in a previous video regarding the Deep Logic AI, which runs all the ships, morale is a very important aspect and feature to the AI, because when they run out of energy cells, when they run out of ammunition, their morale starts dropping and they can rebel on you. Now, initially, I'm designing the supply system to be automated, but when I do design the actual software, I'm keeping in mind that I may actually switch it to a micromanaged system where the player can have some control over it. But initially, to reduce development time, because I wouldn't have to make any GUIs or anything like that, I'm making the system automated. So I can at least get to testing the game and distributing the alpha builds on the website for players to test and help me do balancing and other things during the development process. So what else is there? That pretty much covers the supply ship system for now. It's actually a rather simple system, but it will have a major effect on gameplay because players will be able to use guerrilla tactics to capture enemy supply ships. Pirates will not destroy supply ships; they will only capture them. And when they capture them, they'll basically capture the resources and they'll despawn. And what happens when the supply ship despawns, it'll be on a frequency timer to where it'll respawn again at its host planet. And if it's a fleet supply ship, it'll respawn at the capital system within the Empire. And it'll begin making its delivery run to your fleets, basically. Part of the reason for this system is to prevent players, because hyperjumping within this game is a hyperjump system that's an actual physical, real hyperjump. It's not where, like in other games where you go to a loading screen and it shows you some fancy animation to make you think you're hyperjumping. In Galactic Armada, you are really traveling at hyperjump velocity when you hyperjump across the galaxy. You're traveling at massive speeds. And you're physically moving across the galaxy. With the exception of the AIs. The AIs will, whenever they go out of range of the player, they go into a background system where their movement is simulated. Because obviously, in a game of this scale, you can't have 10,000 ships running physics systems. Because, unless you have a supercomputer. You'd have to have a quantum computer to run, that many physical ships in a galaxy. Maybe in another 20 years it might be possible, but right now it's just not possible. So, anyway, what else is there? So that pretty much covers supply ships for now. I did want to have some graphic representations of the ships, going back and forth on this little chart here of the galaxy. But, I just don't feel like spending the time on that. I want to go ahead and move on to the next chart. I don't have that many more charts to do. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and go into detail about the weapon systems. All the systems I've talked about so far, which is the procedural galaxy, the resource system, the supply ship system, the fleet system, the AI that runs the ships, all those are foundational mechanics that I could actually start building the game right now, starting with the galaxy system, the procedural galaxy, which is the environment for the game. I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take to build the galaxy system. I'm thinking a month or two. But before I do that, I have to start on the website. And the website might take a couple weeks. I do want to do a good job on it and do a professional job. And go ahead and get the forum up and get things set up to where once I do get the procedural galaxy system done and functional, I can go ahead and start just getting an alpha testers group going on the forum on the website so people can help me test it and also give feedback about, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and things like that. So anyways, thank you for taking your time to listen to me talk, and I will be doing another update probably in a couple days. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more charts with some important systems relative to environment, galaxy, resource production, things like that, which is the background processing system for the 2D board game. Within Galactic Armada is basically two games. You have the physical galaxy that the player experiences the game in, and you have the board game, which is basically going to be the galaxy map. And the board game, when ships leave the visible space of the player, they will transition into the board game simulation system. And when they jump into an area around the player, visible to the player. They will exit the board game simulation system into the 3D space simulation system. So there's basically two games within one, and a transition system basically to convert them between each other, which is probably the most difficult thing to program in the game. I know I can do it. Um, you know, I'm an experienced enough Unity developer to know that I can do it. I can build this. You know, I can build this transition system, which is, I think, why a game like this doesn't exist. I think maybe because of that transition system is incredibly difficult to program, maybe. Or maybe it's just a lot of work to program. I mean, you'd have to put a lot of hours. I'm going to have to put a lot of hours in to build that, to test it, and make it work. So we have a well-blended 4X strategy game that you can experience in a 3D space. And that's my ultimate goal, is I want Stellaris, but I want to experience Stellaris. Well, my game's different than Stellaris, as you're finding out, but it's similar in some regards. It's, 4X strategy game is a 4X strategy game. It's a board game, where you move your troops around and you capture provinces or territories, or in space it's solar systems, but the principle is the same. So that's what we want. We want conquest. We want strategy. We want to take over the galaxy, but we want to experience it from the cockpit of a spaceship. And more importantly, we want the mechanics to be well blended and to work well, which is what's difficult to achieve. I think that might be, I don't know the exact reason why a game like this doesn't exist, but I'm seeking to change that. I want this game to exist more than anything, because it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great experience. It's going to be fun. It's going to be addictive. It's going to be challenging. It's going to test your skill level. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting now, but I'm going to go ahead and get off here and get this video uploaded. You guys have a great weekend, and God bless.